I've played Guild Wars 2 for over 20,000 hours, and I've learned a whole lot and collected just about everything in the game, so it's a perfect time to go round again. Join me in the adventures of my completely fresh account known only as the Microtransaction Enjoyer, on the quest of obtaining and unlocking everything in the game, from legendary gear and mounts to living world story episodes, maps, and ultimate gem store quality of life, purely through efficient and somewhat sensible gameplay. No real money required.
What's the plan for Zero to Hero? Honestly, that's a good enough segue for me. We are back in business, guys, with the Zero to Hero. There's a couple more hours on the clock. I'm going to explain why, actually. I've been playing a whole bunch of World versus World, just warming up a little bit, getting into the account. I've got a whole bunch of reward tracks. Look, can you believe this? I even played a little bit of PvP, which is actually a good lead-in for what we're going to be doing today, because today we're going to be talking about these bonus events that ArenaNet has been doing. These are absolutely insane, by the way. If you're not doing, they're a lot of fun as well. I think it's good to take a trip down memory lane and go back to the old content, but this is actually kind of like a new thing that ArenaNet's going to be doing in downtime between patches. It looks like you're going to have these constant, almost like weekly or even bi-weekly events popping up where you have like a random activity like a PvP rush or World versus World rush, return to Season 3. It's going to be returned to Season 4, right? And all the other stuff leading up to the expansion as well. But listen, do you want to hear about that? Probably not. But what do you... The question is it worth doing? The answer is definitely yes. Right now, there are 3 dailies for Return to Season 3, and you get a Mystic Coin for each of them. That's like 6 gold right off the bat. It's insanely good. You definitely want to be doing this. And the actual Return to setup gives you another 5 Mystic Coins here. You get a Leyline Weapon Cache, which you can also, instead of picking a skin, you can get 6 Mystic Coins out of that. And, of course, you get the rewards for doing the events themselves and a bunch of the map currency, which is useful if you're going for the legendaries, or you can just convert it into Unbound Magic and then turn that into a little bit of gold with the vendors on these maps at the same time. So if you got Season 3... if you ask me, you definitely want to get into this. We're going to be doing it today. We've got to blast this out real quick. It's not that complex. It basically boils down to do a bunch of the events on the map, and then away you go. And maybe do some of the jumping puzzles as well, okay? And maybe a little bit of that as well. And some of the diving, okay? Wow, look at this incredible variety. I will actually say the PvP one and the World versus World ones are particularly insane. I think... when I played like 10 games, I can't even play ranked yet, by the way. It was a brutal, savage experience of being forced to solo queue unranked. It's like, wow, what an experience that was. But I think you got something like 2 full reward tracks in playing 10 games of PvP, basically, or 10 to 15 games of PvP. It's absolutely ridiculous. Love to see that. Oh, I think it was 10 wins, actually, and like 15 total games played. But yeah, pretty epic if you ask me, especially as soon as you get the normal rewards too. But anyway, let's stop stalling. Oh, before we actually get into that, I do want to talk about some of the goals for Zero to Hero. A little bit of a warm-up here. You know, we're kind of doing it backwards. I said what we're doing today rather than the overview first, but you know what? That's scuffed and we love it. But the goals right now, we're preparing for the expansion. We are going to be getting maxed masteries for everything in Soto, obviously, to catch up there. Little bit of a spoiler, by the way. I'm actually going to play the Zero to Hero account on launch, actually, of Janthea Wilds. I'm going to be going for like a massive 24-hour grind to max out masteries on this guy, and hell, you know, you'll be welcome to join there as well. Zero to Hero gamers in the guild, well, just everyone really can come and blast. We'll get it done. You know, we'll work as a team to unlock everything and get those mastery points locked in. We're going to be crafting the legendary spear as well, including core map completion. And I got a lot of questions on the previous one. I haven't forgotten about those, by the way, about thinking about stuff like how to make legendary weapons. That was like a big question that popped up. And the other really big one was talking about how to use the commander tag. You'll be seeing a little bit of a flavor of that later today, actually, when we actually go onto these maps. I'll just make a tag and you can see what I do, and you'll see that, well, you know, I'm very, you know, we're not really putting in a lot of work and we're getting a lot of value out of it. But I'll go into detail on that a little bit more as well. You know, we're going to be farming gold, be getting rich. I've got to prepare for the homestead by getting all the silly, you know, the gathering things set up there so we can like have the ultimate harvesting farm in our homestead in Janthea Wilds. And I don't know, there's probably some other stuff there as well. Actually, another thing we're going to be doing, actually, is we're going to be pre-grinding the legendary spear, because ArenaNet actually confirmed recently that you're going to need essences, these things. You're going to need these things for the legendary spear that's coming out with Janthea Wilds as well. That's not happening on launch, though, but I might as well start pre-grinding that as well. In addition to probably making some legendaries, I've already got like legendary world versus world armor on the way. Probably the raid armor too. I can get the raid armor pretty easily, I think. And probably the PvP armor as well. We'll do one of each, right, just for fun, with all that kind of stuff. So yeah, there you go. That's a bit of an overview. If you've got any more questions about it, I've probably forgotten some of the stuff I'm going to do. Stay tuned. And I will say this before we get started. This is a little warm-up episode of Zero to Hero. I will actually be going through and responding to pretty much all of the questions and topics that people brought up in the first kind of reintroduction to the series, actually. So if you do have anything that you'd like me to address, please leave it as a comment, of course. Or you can just give me a ping on Discord or something. You can join my Discord and ask stuff there. We will help you. But yeah, always looking for more topics to cover. That's a big focus of this series of Zero to Hero. I will solve all of your problems. There's the tagline. Easy peasy. But anyway, here we go. Let's get started. Also, yeah, that is a good point. I will be playing on NA after Janthea Wilds. I've heard NA is, you know, a barren, desolate wasteland. And don't worry, I will save NA. Funnily enough, actually, one more brief derail. Like, I've really come to realize this, actually, after kind of talking to people a little bit and kind of reading comments, is that some people thought that some of the things I did on Zero to Hero, particularly in the Season 3 maps and Season 4 maps, was unrealistic. I've actually come to realize that a lot of those players found it unrealistic because they play on the NA server. I'm not trolling or memeing here in any way, but it is actually maybe an issue or certainly a big difference between EU and NA, is that these maps are a lot quieter on NA than they are on EU. On EU, I actually remember doing Aurora. I did Aurora on my main off stream, right? I was just kind of chilling, just, you know, doing all the Aurora stuff, all the collections and so on. And even at 4 a.m., which is where I was usually playing, right? I was doing it quite late at night. The maps were all active on the EU at 4 a.m. Seriously. I was able to do Draconis Mons meta events, no problem. Even the Lake Doric stuff, which is actually one of the quieter maps, I think, even on EU. I was able to do that absolutely no problem on the EU server. Again, off stream, by the way. Off stream and not tagged. I was not tagging. It was totally off stream. And there were people there literally all the time. And I just want to kind of point that out here a little bit, that you actually can do, like, what I did on Zero to Hero, no problem, as a non-streamer, as a solo player on the EU server. The NA server is another thing entirely, and I think that is actually where some of the confusion, frustration at the Zero to Hero actually came from, is from people playing on the NA server. And do not worry, I'm going to have a bit of an NA vacation. We're going to make sure that you guys can be Zero to Heroes as well over there. No problem. Ha ha ha! The Epoch meta will fall to us, and the Janthea Wilds meta is going to be good. But anyway, let's go ahead and get started on the bonus event. Yeah, just watch out for this as well, guys. Like, you know, if there's a bonus event over here, click it, see what to do. It's a little yellow star over here. That's telling you there's money to be made, okay? That's telling you there's big money to be made. Let's go ahead and do it. Here we go. Let's just do the maps in order. Like, I'm not, you know, we don't need to be creative about it. Let's go. Boom, Bloodstone Fen. I'm going in. I mean, I think we just have to do a bunch of events. It really, really is not complicated. It's just complete 5 events and actually do the kind of the meta style events here as well. We need to kill the Unbound Guardian, and we also need to kill Hablion as well. I'm actually running the exact same build that I've always run on the Zero to Hero as well. Nothing has really changed in that regard. I have added a relic, although funnily enough, I'm basically playing a world versus world setup right now. You know, currently, world versus world, if anything, is kind of my main game mode in Guild Wars 2. It's what I definitely play the most of. So, like, I'm a trespasser here, guys. Like, we're trespassing here in open world PvE. Let's go do this. I mean, I think we have landed where there's no Hablion right now, and there's no Bloodstone thing as well. So we might have to come back and do those, but we can just do some of these random rift events. Guys, look. Rifts! Hang on. What's going on here? Like, we were rifting before it was cool here, by the looks of this. Oh, we have to go up even higher. You know, actually, this will be where having the... I don't have any of the masters unlocked for Soto, so I can't use... Wait, actually, maybe I can... Can I get the updraft thing? Oh, no. Unlucky. I actually have a couple of these. I guess I might as well just upgrade them now. I'm a Rift Master. That's going to be useful. But I don't have the Updraft one. The Updraft one is really useful, actually. It's very OP. There we are. I think it's dead. Man, when everyone's attacking it, it fires off so many of the little shards. It's like chips off, and it's just actual insanity. But look, we're actually nearly done with our 5 events here. So you can see this is very quick to do. And again, like, if, you know, this, of course, we are not doing the dailies just yet, and this could be a way to do it, right? Like, these events last for a good amount of time. If you just do the dailies, basically, you will actually complete the meta achievement as well, like, no problem whatsoever. So if you just do, like, the daily events for Mystic Coins, like, that's a very good way of doing it. I'm gonna grind it all out because, I mean, why not, right? Like, you know, we've got to get this done, so might as well just go for it. Is there anything else that it wants us to do here? Yeah, it wants us to do the Unbound Guardian, and it wants us to do Hableon, doesn't it? But we have to wait for those. They might just not exist. It's not here. It's over. You know, this is actually a really interesting thing. I wonder if these maps, by the way, because we know that they're trying to do like an open worlds raid thing. It's going to be a convergence in Janthea Wilds. I wonder if these maps were kind of an inspiration to that, actually, because, of course, these maps, Bloodstone Fen, Ember Bay, and so on, actually had basically repackaged raid bosses in the open world. The Unbound Guardian, of course, being quite similar to Veil Guardian, and the Sloth on Ember Bay being, well, I mean, obviously the Sloth. Oh, ooh, okay, okay. I am going to use this time now while we have a bit of downtime. I think we've got to wait for these events to pop up. Right, listen up. This is very important, guys. For some ungodly reason, ArenaNet decided to make some of the vendors offer different prices, okay, for the things you get for Unbound Magic, right? And I'm just going on fast farming here just to show this off. So, for some reason, the Magic Wart packets, basically, have different prices, as you can see here, right? And if you buy the wrong one, you'll get absolutely destroyed. So, yeah, watch out for that. And also, the Magic Wart packet, as you can see here, this is just straight up negative gold. That's right. You lose money by buying this. So watch out, you know. Woo-hoo. Bit of a situation there, guys. As you can see here, the ones that you may want to consider going for, it's the Magic Warp bundle here as well for 500 Unbound Magic and 1 gold. These are, to be fair, pretty close together, as you can see here, right? Like, it looks like this one's slightly better in this regard in terms of the efficiency. But yeah, watch out for this one, guys. That's definitely not the way to go. I suppose I should probably tag up. In fact, I'm going to tag up and do all the maps. Here we go. All right, here we go. I will go on the LFG. Let's do it. Living World Season 3. Whoa, look at all these White Mantle gamers. They're stacking. And they're also all dead now. Boom. Destroyed. Absolutely destroyed. There's too many Seekers. Can we break the shield? We're nearly done. Oh, no. Some of them got it. No, the shield's getting healed. We got to kill these. Boom. Easy. Look at that. Already done. Local response. Bloodstone Fen. That's actually a really funny thing also. Oh yeah, I guess I can finally open this. I was actually saving this. I didn't want to open this outside of a Zero to Hero video, actually. So, boom. It's been, like, floating there for ages now because I've been playing some World vs. World on stream. Look at that, guys. 11,000 achievement points. I actually held it so long, I nearly have the next one with 11,500. But I guess I'll just pick the... I'll pick the Greatsword. Boom. There we go. Easy. Finally unlocked. And now the bouncy chest is gone. I'm actually free. Okay, I'm going to quickly check if the Hableon event is up. It happens pretty quickly, so it might be. But it isn't. Unlucky. You hate to see that. Well, I guess we'll just go to the next map then. And we'll come back and do these. I think... Wait, when is the... There's one thing that is a little bit tricky about these maps sometimes. Is that you don't really know when the event is going to fire. Like all of the, you know, these events aren't really on timers. Like the Unbound Guard, they're not on a time. You just kind of have to check back. Oh, never mind. Well, there you go then. The event is up. Love to see that. I think it actually just started, no? Oh, wait, no. Actually, wait. Oh, you know, it was going. I just didn't see it. Nice. I just didn't check. Well, look. There you go, guys. Make sure you check on the event. It might be starting. Champion Jade Armor. Now, these maps are honestly really cool. Season 3 had a very different approach to meta events and stuff. And I think what was actually kind of interesting about these, this is way less relevant nowadays, but these maps were amazing for grinding trinkets. This was actually the time where getting, like, getting ascended trinkets was kind of annoying to do. Season 4, I think, made it a lot easier. But Season 3, when this got added to the game, like this is why, to this day, people recommend Winterberry farming so much, is because it was extremely easy. And you could farm, you could grind ascended jewelry, basically, which is kind of nice. I'm not sure if I'd really recommend it anymore. I think I've talked about this a little bit in some of my videos. In general, I really like doing Ice-Brewed Saga Strikes and Season 4 meta events, so like Palawadon, and like the Season 4 metas and maps, because I think it's a little bit better, especially when it comes to like the gold per hour on it as well, actually, is really nice. But it's definitely good if you really, really need Ascended right now. The reason why I tend to lean towards stuff like Ice-Brewed Saga, and if you, look, we can do some callbacks here to the start of the Zero to Hero stuff, right? But one of the things that many people know that I didn't do, I didn't really rush Ascended on this character whatsoever. I basically played with exotic gear for a very, very long time. I was like slowly working my way up through fractals, so I didn't need 150 agony resistance immediately, and I didn't really need ascended gear. It's not like a huge deal when it comes to performance, really. You can still do absolutely just fine on exotics, and because I didn't rush just going for ascended gear, I basically did it alongside my other account progression. I did it like at the same time. It was a bit slower in terms of real time. You know, it took quite a while in the series to actually get full ascended, but when I did, my account was in a very, very good position in terms of how much gold I'd been able to acquire, right? And like how much like quality of life I'd gotten, how far the account was progressed in terms of unlocking things and like getting all the content, all the story and that sort of thing. So yeah, I don't know. Slight derail there, but it is what it is. Yeah. I'd really like to see them add some way to get trinkets in the Wizard's Vault, actually. I want to see them go a little bit crazy with the Wizard's Vault in the expansion. I really hope they let you get stuff like minstrel gear and viper gear in the ascended armor chests and weapon chests, and I'd also love to see them add some jewelry too, actually. We're going to be talking a lot about how to get legendaries. A little bit of a spoiler for the series ahead here, but yeah, legendaries are going to be a big focal point of this one. Might as well. I know we did a couple, actually. It's actually wild. When I logged back onto this account, I was like, wait, what? I've got how many legendaries on this character? But yeah, I've got Aurora, Vision, Coalescence. I even made a legendary rune at a bit of a rush to, you know, to get the free legendary relic, which you can see I've got over there, and I've got this free legendary relic here that I was able to pick up, which is, you know, kind of nice, I suppose. You know, just get that, get all that stuff. But everything on the right side of my character is actually legendary. And you know what's actually really weird? I'm strangely close to being able to get legendary armor as well. Actually, like, most of the things I need to do for legendary armor are just grinding gold, which is not really that much of a big deal. Like, a set of legendary armor is around, I think it's like 2,000 gold these days, which really is not a crazy big deal. Like, gold farming in Guild Wars 2 is super efficient, actually, right now. It's, like, very easy to get gold if you kind of know what to do and, you know, what things and how to sell stuff and how to make some money. And that's something that we'll also be covering. Don't worry, I'm not going to leave you in the dark about that. We've got the brand new meta train to talk about that people are running right now, like how to utilize crafting and rifts and essences and convergences and all this insanity. It's going to be good stuff. And no, we're not AFK farming. Frugal Fighter's an AFK farm. Frugal Fighter plays the game for fun. Okay, actually, that's what Frugal Fighter does. And I've got to say, actually, I've got to bounce a question back, actually, to the audience. One thing that people really asked me a couple of times, like I think like 3 or 4 people asked this in the comment section of the first Zero to Hero kind of reintroduction video, was how would you use your time if you only have a couple of hours? And that to me was a really interesting question, because it's a question that I'm very happy to answer, but I feel like I can't tell you that, you know, like because, you know, the thing is, I've been there. I think a lot of people maybe wouldn't even realize this, but when I was like gaming quite a lot, actually, back in my school days, I had some pretty long days, right? Because I was swimming as well. I was doing a lot of sport at the time. So when I got home from swimming, I would get home pretty late into the evening, at around 8 p.m. And I'd have to get up at about 4:30 the next day for training. And this meant that I did not have a lot of time to play video games. Like, I had maybe an hour or two, like, after kind of getting home and, you know, eating and all that kind of stuff and, you know, just doing what you do, right? When you come home from a hard day of performing various activities. So I know what that's like, to, you know, to not have that much time to game. But again, I think it really depends on your priorities, right? Like, I would just play the game for fun, right? I would do a lot of world versus world roaming and zerging back in those days, actually. And I was actually playing a lot of StarCraft 2 as well. I would just, like, hop on the ladder in StarCraft 2 ranked and, like, slam out a couple of games. So, you know, it is definitely a very interesting experience. And I think you can do a lot of things, like, with a low amount of time. Like, obviously, when you see the Zero to Hero, when I was, you know, playing through playing on this character throughout these seasons, I've been putting in like a lot of time every day, right? I was doing like 6-hour days sometimes on Zero to Hero. But the thing is that you could do the same thing, just spread out a lot more, right? Like there aren't that many activities in Guild Wars 2 that kind of require you to sit down for 4 hours. In fact, there aren't any. There's none. I think the longest activity in terms of time commitment is actually the monthly automated tournament, or automated tournaments in general. Even a daily automated tournament is about an hour. Even a little bit more than that, actually, if you kind of like factor in all of like the downtime and stuff like that. The monthly AT can go up to like, you know, kind of 2 hours, 2.5 hours even. All that kind of stuff there as well. Like even stuff like raiding, like you can do like a raid where you can like slam that out in half an hour to 40 minutes, like no problemo. Like full fractals can be done in like 40 minutes, easy peasy. Even half an hour, right? If you're in like a good team and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I need to ask you guys, like, what do we mean by this? Like, what's our goal? And look, if you want the super boring answer, I can tell you, well, you know, if you want to get the most gold, you should probably do fractals every day and Dragonstorm, but I'm just not sure if that's what I'm actually being asked here, right? Because, like, if someone asked me, what would I do if I only had an hour to play? I'd say, honestly, I just do whatever the hell I wanted. I'd probably do a lot of World versus World, to be honest, because I like that game mode a lot, right? You know, maybe I do like strike missions or fractals or raids or whatever, but probably a lot of World versus World. So it's kind of difficult for me to answer that. I kind of need to know, like, what's the goal? What's the mission, right? Like, how, you know, because I think a very interesting question, actually, would be, like, how do I enjoy the game with like a low amount of time? Because one thing that is really noticeable, actually, playing on my main compared to the Zero to Hero account is how much more quality of life I have on that Zero to Hero, on the my main compared to the Zero to Hero account. It's like very easy for me to like reroll to anything I want, like make any build I want on my main, obviously, because I have all the legendaries and stuff. So I think that's kind of an interesting thing. But I think all of that really funnels into how do I get gold out of my game, out of the game mode, right? Because at the end of the day, what Guild Wars 2 is ultimately a gold farming simulator. That's basically what the game is at its very, very core. Oh, I need to go do the diving thing, don't I, actually? So I think to answer the question, how do I play the game with limited time? I think that question actually is, if we kind of translate it a little bit, is how do I almost maximize profit out of whatever game mode I like? Like, that's kind of what I interpret that as, almost. And that is, I guess, kind of an interesting topic as well. But I actually don't know. I don't want to be too presumptuous on what people are actually asking me there. But yeah, I kind of need to know what people are asking me with that question. I kind of went on a pretty long tangent asking about, like, what are you people asking me? But I mean it very seriously. I think it's a very complicated question, surprisingly complicated question, actually, when it comes to, like, you know, what would you do? Like, what would you do with limited time? I think that very much depends what your goals are and like what you're looking to get out of the game. All right, we're done with this map. Now we're going to Ember Bay. Oh, I actually waypointed here, but there's no reason for me to do that. Oh, actually there is. I haven't filled this book out, apparently. Nice meme. Okay, right. Ember Bay.